Shoot for 95. No!
On April 20th, Derek Chauvin, former police officer, was convicted of the murder of George Floyd in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Chauvin will receive his sentence at a hearing on June 25th. According to BBC, he faces a maximum sentence length of 40 years. On Tuesday, the CDC announced that fully vaccinated Americans may now go outside without wearing a mask as long as they are not in a crowded area and are able to maintain social distance. This decision has proved to be very controversial, as many Americans have expressed concerns that this announcement may cause a spike in COVID-19 cases. I'm Shiloh Hammerland, and thank you for watching.
Some people believe ultimate frisbee is not a sport because frisbee is more of a casual activity. Ultimate frisbee is not like traditional sports because it is low contact and relies on the sportsmanship of the players to call the plays instead of referees. Also, ultimate frisbee is made up of many different elements of other traditional sports. We wanted to hear from the girls and boys ultimate frisbee captains and other NHS athletes to hear their opinion on this popular debate.
Y'all ready for this?
Why do you think other athletes think ultimate is not a sport?
Because they're losers.
Yeah, I think that's pretty spot on, but it's a new sport, and I think it'll grow in popularity and competitiveness and become a bona fide sports scene.
I think because it's traditionally not seen at maybe collegiate levels in D1 sports and things like that, so I think definitely getting the recognition it definitely deserves is sometimes a little hard for the sport.
A little different this year, but usually we have tournaments, which is 4 or 5 games in a day and 80-degree heat, and so trying to keep your head in the game when you're that exhausted is probably what we train for generally all year.
Yeah, I second that with Matan. There are definitely days where you're out running for about 8 hours, and it definitely gets tiring, but you just got to power through it.
I mean, if you play it, it's tricky. Just the coordination you have to have and the athleticism that you have to have are always really tricky. Yeah.
Well, the biggest difference is that there are no referees generally. Sometimes professional level there is. So we just have to, it's kind of like when you play pickup sports. You have to, deal with it yourselves.
I would say the people. I would say the people are definitely
good people.
I think the people who you find in Ultimate aren't typically people that you'll find playing other sports, and that's a good thing because we're sort of all driven by the same objective, and that's just to have fun, throw a disc around, hopefully get a dub.
The fact that it is self-refereed is definitely different. I play soccer, and a lot of times you're almost trying to cheat out the refs a bit, make sure they can't see what you're doing, but that's totally not the vibe that Frisbee has. So, you're trying to actively be the best team player that you can be, so that's definitely different.
Thanks for watching, and if you think you'd be good at ultimate frisbee, be sure to let us know at Transcript NHS on Instagram.
Last month, Strategy and Policy, a Washington think tank, found that there is clear and convincing evidence that the Chinese government is violating the United Nations Genocide Convention through their attacks on the Muslim Uyghur population. Uyghurs are suffering from systemic torture and cruel, inhumane, and degrading treatment, the New Lines Institute for Strategy and Policy said in its report, concluding that China has been killing Uyghurs and causing them serious bodily or mental harm. This week we hit the streets of Northampton to hear what people have to say about the genocide occurring in China.
So, do you think the United States should interfere in the Chinese genocide?
I think, President Xi is out of control. But I think we also in the United States recognize that, bottom line, China has more power in the world right now than we do. But I trust Joe Biden has both the background and the diplomatic team and expertise to perhaps get at the table with that crazy guy.
Should the United States hold off on trade while this genocide is going on?
No, we should continue trading with them, but we should eliminate products that we know are being produced in places like the Uyghur-dominated areas.
The United States and its allies have announced sanctions on many Chinese officials alleged to have links to the Uyghur genocide. Though many officials have taken a stand condemning China's actions, no one has taken a direct approach to stop these acts of violence. Thanks so much for watching. See you next week. The Northampton High School Poetry Slam has been a staple in the school community as a method of creativity and expression. Although the slam was canceled last year due to the pandemic, it is back on and will take place this spring. We sat down with English teacher Michelle Bernhard, this year's Poetry Slam organizer, to find out more about the history of the Poetry Slam and the details of the comeback slam in 2021.
I'm Michelle Bernhard. I'm an English teacher at the high school, and the Poetry Slam has been going on for about 25 years. It was started by Miss Brown and Miss Strauss, and they ran it for 20 years with guest poets every year to do workshops with students. And we would have all day poetry slams, except for third block, which had lunch. And it was exciting. It was lots of fun to have a big live audience. And it seemed like it was a meaningful thing each year. People, kids, teachers, staff from, all sorts of types of people would get up there and share their poems. And it was a real feel-good moment day about our community, how much diversity and how many different types of people we have. I think we've sort of outgrown the slam culture in a way. We had a fabulous guest poet who came. His name was Adam Gottlieb, and he was a student at Hampshire College. He wrote these great poems. He ended up being in a documentary film called Louder Than a Bomb that was made at a Chicago slam before he had come to Hampshire. And he was such an accomplished poet. And he always said, it's not about the points, it's about the poetry.
We also spoke with Kat Shaw, NHS student and Miss Bernhard's assistant in the Poetry Slam.
We're doing submissions in video, but it doesn't have to include your face, because the thing is poetry is more about your like voice and your emotion, not necessarily like what's going on visually. It's more of your tone. And so we wanted to create not only a platform online because of everything with COVID this year, so that it's easier for people and nobody has to go in or, stress out about that, but to where people can take that video, they could take it of like the outside, like if it's raining outside, or they could have a still image, whatever people want to do. That way, if you don't feel comfortable video recording yourself and you just want to do your voice, you have that option. It's not only for the convenience, but to keep people comfortable.
We need you for the Poetry Slam. All video submissions are due by Friday, May 21st. Get creative. The virtual showcase will be Wednesday, May 26th. I'm Alexa, and thank you for watching.